Hi, welcome to Unbusy Living. If you're new here, please subscribe so we can make time for what matters together. So glad you're here today. Today's video is going to be about relaxing. Yes, I think we absolutely need to talk about relaxing because it is something that we need to learn, most of us. We need to learn how to do that on our way to an unbusy life. Because this day and age, can you even think of a time of a day or even minutes in a day where you don't need to do something, when there is no demands coming from anywhere around you, where you could just relax? And what is relaxation anyway? No one has ever taught me what relaxation was. I actually had to discover this after the age of 30, probably, because I just had no idea. Certainly, I knew that watching TV was not relaxing, not for me anyway. It was more like mind-numbing, escaping from the world and trying to forget about all of my problems kind of thing. Scrolling, same thing, but on fire, like so much more effective at numbing my mind and absolutely getting me far away from my reality, and mostly into just drowning me into like negative problems and the really complicated stuff in the world, making me feel very overwhelmed. So what is relaxing anyway? I really wanted to dedicate a whole episode to this, and not just relaxing, but relaxing as a parent, because let's be honest, that's so much harder than just regular people relaxing. I feel like when you're a parent, you're pulled into at least 100 directions at any given point in time. And whilst that is beautiful, I think it's beautiful being a parent, but it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I heard that from many other parents as well. So let's talk about relaxing as a parent. And the first thing I want to talk about, why? Why do you need rest? Well, I personally think this is one of my core beliefs, that if my cup is empty, then there's nothing to pour into my children's cups. And my empty cup, if I'm tired, I haven't slept, I have not done any relaxing activities, I'm just go, do all the time, then I get quite frustrated, which means that I'm less patient. It also means that I'm most probably emotionally unavailable to my children. And one of the main jobs we have as parents, isn't it that we can just hold the little things when they come home from school and they are exhausted, they have had conflicts with friends, teachers, whatever it may be. We just kind of scoop them up, give them a cuddle, and be like, come here, I'm all ears, tell me all that's wrong with the world. And then we co-regulate, we scoop them up and make them feel better. But when you are stressed out, anxious, worried, overwhelmed, busy, you can't do that. When you're not emotionally available, you'll be like, oh, that's nothing. Can you just pull yourself together and behave, because I'm so tired, I cannot possibly handle this anymore. Less than ideal, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm human like you. And I do this a lot, and not a lot, and I do this too. However, I love to course correct. I love to develop the awareness where I catch myself. I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit tired right now. How can I just relax quickly before the kids arrive home, or before we get to dinner time or bath time, which is the craziest time of the day here, so that I am emotionally available, and especially for the evening hours, because my children tend to wait until the very last minute of the day to kind of pour their cup onto my head, so that here it is. Here are all of my problems. Now deal with it. Tell me what to do in life. And then I'm like, oh gosh, I was almost out of the door. I was almost having adult time. And now you're pulling me back, asking questions. Amazing, right? But these are especially those times of the day when I feel like I really need to pull myself together and focus and be there as emotional support and answer all the questions and provide some wisdom, hopefully, for the problems that they are having, or at least a fresh perspective so that they can take themselves out of the misery, right? So I think this is the most important reason why we need relaxing. Other than that, when your cup is empty, obviously, you are going to be doing things that are not necessarily the best for you. So you're looking for comfort, maybe in food, maybe in binge watching Netflix, maybe in scrolling uncontrollably and watching all of those lovely TikTok videos or whatever it is. You know, it's just a lot of things can just slip out of your hands and suddenly you don't know where the day has gone, or you don't know where your time is. Sometimes you will find comfort in shopping and then suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, where's the money, you know, I bought when they show up at the door. It's just that we tend to really find comfort in behaviors that are not necessarily the best for us long term, not necessarily the healthiest things, and certainly not productive or good in a way that these activities will not help us long term to get to where we want to be the person who we admire to be, or achieve the goals that we want to achieve long term. They're just like in the moment, give me quick comfort kind of things. So when you have the motivation in your life, like why you actually need relaxing, and then you have the reasons why it's a good idea to just give yourself a rest every now and then it's time to find the ways of like how. And I think this is where a lot of things can also go wrong, because again, we default to like, oh, relaxing means I'm going to just watch some telly, but not necessarily, not for everyone. And I really want you to ask yourself now, the activities that you think are relaxing, are they? Some people will say that, you know, travel, go abroad, go have a holiday and relax. I find holidays everything but relaxing. Because when I'm in a new place, I'm like up early. I'm like, what is it that we need to explore today? What do we need to do? I want to be out. I want to do stuff. And when you do stuff, you're not necessarily relaxing. Also, the idea of being jet lagged in a different country, it just does not equal relaxation in my mind. But that may be just me. Let me know in the comments, just out of curiosity, for how many of you is traveling a relaxing activity. I'm really curious about this one. Right, so I really want you to just ask yourself, like, what are the things that are actually relaxing to you? So here's a few of mine. Take a walk alone, all by myself, just me. And this also means that there's nothing in my ears. I'm not going to be listening to audiobooks, YouTube videos, none of that. Sometimes I may listen to a walking meditation, but typically no. Typically I'm just walking, trying to clear out my head, taking the fresh air in, and being very mindful on this walk. Looking at the plants, looking at the trees, taking really deep breaths, listening to the birds, that kind of thing. So just a mindful walk, and even 5 to 10 minutes will help me to just ground myself, to empty the noise of work and kind of get myself ready for the evening. Or I can do this before an important meeting, just empty whatever happened in the day up until this point and get myself ready, get myself grounded and recharged and just refreshed. This is one of my favorite quick ways to bounce back into balance. Number 2, if I have time, typically in the evenings, sometimes in the mornings, I absolutely love to meditate on my Shakti mat. You just need to lay down on it, and Shakti actually provides you with free meditations inside their app, but typically I would listen to my own meditations inside my own app, the Unbusy app. Download it now if you haven't done so yet. And I would just relax on it. It is a fabulous tool. It helps me with any back pain, neck pain, migraines, that kind of thing as well. It has a ton of health benefits, of which I'm not going to list now, but it's just such a wonderful way. Very, very relaxing. If I spend 20 minutes on the mat, sometimes half an hour, I feel like a brand new person when I get up after it. So that's one of just something that I recently discovered. It's quite new, but it's so refreshing. Number 3, when you think about your childhood, can you think of something that has been really good, that's something that was filling your soul, either something that you played or a habit that you had that just used to make you really, really happy? And whenever you found time to do this activity when you were a child or a young adult, maybe a teenager, and it made you really, really happy, can you think of a thing like this? Recently, I was asked this question, like, what gave you joy, basically, when you were young? And the thing that I can remember most vividly is that loud, very loud music gave me enormous joy. Whenever I would find myself alone at home when my parents were gone, when I was, a young teen to like a young adult, the number one thing I would do is listen to really loud music. I don't know how neighbors felt about this. I don't think my mom ever found out. Hopefully she's not watching this video now. But whenever literally they stepped out of the house, whenever they were out, I would just listen to very loud music. And since I remember this, I started doing this now. We don't have that many neighbors. And when my family steps out, I'm like, right, this is my time to use speakers. My husband hates loud music, and I just absolutely love it. It gives me this sense of freedom and joy. I can't explain to it. I think some people really feel this way when they are dancing. Now, I don't like that. It doesn't give me the same sense of joy and freedom. I understand why it does it for other people, but it does not work for me. All I get is like, I don't want to do this. This is embarrassing, even if no one sees it. So for me, it's like just listen to very loud music and obviously sing along, right? So that is one of the things that I really started to bring back into my life from those early years, and I'm loving it. It's such a nice way to relax. And it's always a reminder that I do get to be alone, and I do get to do stuff that I love alone. And I don't have to do the boring housework and listen to nothing in the meantime. Like sometimes I will listen to personal development and audiobooks and things like that. But when I'm kind of like down and I feel like I'm super tired and I need to relax, but also I need to do the dishwasher or the laundry or something along those lines, or maybe cook dinner, then this is a very nice way of like being in the house, doing the chores, but get a huge dose of joy in that mixture. Number 4 is gardening without distractions. We have an allotment, I have a garden, and one of my favorite things to do is gardening. I'm growing vegetables, I'm growing flowers, all sorts of things really. I'm learning on the go, I don't make it a big deal. It's my number one relaxing activity, super enjoyable, but it's not that easy to find the time to do this. And whenever possible, I will bring my children along with me because they have their own veggies and we're learning about nature and we are supporting wildlife, and I just want them to kind of be outdoors and learn everything they can. And I'm also secretly hoping that if they grow the vegetable, they're also going to eat it without so many arguments. So it's a win-win situation, you know what I mean. But it is sometimes stressful to garden with them, especially when there are tiny little seedlings that needn't be stepped on, or stuff like that, or when they are like overwatering something that really doesn't like water, or when they are playing too much with the frogs and I'm freaking out because they are disrupting the wildlife in the garden, stuff like that. So sometimes if I really want to get away from everything, from screens, from noise, from the world really, I will go into my garden and carve out some time to do some gardening with 0 distractions. And this will be me, complete silence, sounds of nature around me, and just get on with something that needs to be done. And sometimes even simple things like watering or weeding can be one of the most relaxing activities that I've done the whole day, again, because it just clears your head, you get that fresh air. It's really fabulous. Also, I'm a little bit emotionally attached now to gardening because it's been one of the complete lifesavers throughout my recovery last year from major surgery. So I find it very nourishing to the soul, just so nice. And number 5, actually the other most relaxing thing that is kind of clashing with number 3, but if I really want to dial down stress, anxiety, or overwhelm, then I need to be in silence as much as possible. When I'm a bit sad or overstimulated or just have done a very productive day and I feel like my brain is mesh, then the loud music helps me. But when I am experiencing anxiety or high levels of stress, or I have been exposed to too much chatter and noise, typically from my children, or sometimes you're just on calls from 9 till 5, you're like on calls all day. So if that happens, I really need to then lean into the silence and be in silence as much as possible. I think there's a learning curve to being able to tolerate silence and to make friends with yourself when you're in silence. Some people find this really, really difficult, being in silence with yourself, because your thoughts may get too loud. And this is where meditation can help you tremendously, because meditation is not, I still hear this so old school, meditation is not having thoughts. Meditation is, to me, it's more like just be in silence and focus inwards. And when you have that awareness, that attention to what's going on inside of you, with your feelings, with your heart space, with your mind, then you can consciously make changes to it. If you notice a thought that is keeping you stressed, you can let it go. If you notice anxiety somewhere in your body, you can breathe into it and you can let it go. And those are really wonderful things. So being in silence as much as possible is the number one thing that helps to develop awareness, that helps you learn how to meditate, that will help you to dial up the volume on your inner intuition, on that gut feeling, that will train you to listen to that gut feeling when you're hearing it. Also, being in silence, after a while, when you get past that very uncomfortable state of it, very uncomfortable stage of it, then this is the time when you get the best ideas, the best realizations. When you just receive the answer to a question that you have been sitting on for weeks, sometimes months, like a decision that you want to make, it just drops into your lap. It's such a fabulous thing to work on and to consciously carve out time and be in silence, and not silence in autopilot when you are in the car and you're driving and you're running your to-do list in your head. And yes, you are in silence, but not really. Consciously sort of listening to the silence, letting your thoughts calm down, letting all the inner noise, the inner chatter sort of dial down in volume, and just let it be. If you have too many thoughts, you can put them down on paper as well, as sort of like journaling, just kind of like emptying your mind, especially if it's like a to-do list, like, oh, I shall not forget this, I shall not forget it. Oh, this just popped into my mind. Put that down on paper, definitely, and then be in silence with yourself, but intentionally, with intention, because that is going to make all the difference in the outcomes that you gain from these practices. I hope this helps you, and I wish you a very relaxing day, or at least a relaxing 10 minutes today. Let me know what are your favorite ways to relax as a parent. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you as always, and I will see you on the next one. In the meantime, please download the Unbusy app and let's meditate together.